going to introduce. You're going to introduce.
Yeah. Let us know when you have to
This
start.
is off. This is off.
Okay, okay.
It's okay?
The remote, you turn on the TV.
You don't want to introduce with the beginning of the music?
Welcome to the I Rose Talk Show. We are here today with Tamara and Ngozi Elizabeth, both of them for the African diaspora and also the co-host of I Rose Talk Show for the diaspora, which is African Canadian Community Diaspora Africa. Basically for the people of the African diaspora coming together to talk about things that is affecting our community. Therefore, we're going to be able to come together as one and tackle the issue that is affecting our community. So welcome Tamara and welcome Ngozi Elizabeth. I'm
Thank you.
very fortunate to have you today.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So Tamara, we're going to hear your opinion. What do you think? What is that we need to do to come together to tackle the issue that is affecting our community?
What I think is we should think more of the youth, the young men coming up. We need to educate them. You know, we need there's gangs and stuff, but that's a different story. That's a whole different topic.
Right.
But we need to educate them. It's the education that will help them. You know, without the education, there's nothing for them. They have nothing left because these days education matters a lot.
Amazing.
So that's one of the things that we should, I think we should sit with our community, the youth, discuss it with them, see what their issues are, why they are being truant, I should say, why they are not going to, they are dropping out of school, why they are joining gangs. This a whole, it's like a can of worms, how we can go there, but that's very, very important. That's something that I really want us to tackle a lot.
Quite amazing, because education is the key
Of course.
to because they are the future,
Yeah.
they are the next generation, and we have to touch base on that very important point right there. Now we're going to hear Ngozi about the community, so we're going to hear your opinion.
Okay. Well, there's a lot to be done, starting from the federal government to the state government, to the local government, to the community as a whole.
Right.
There's an African adage that says you can't raise a child alone, it takes a village, right?
Right.
So it takes the little families and the apartments down to the community where they belong, down to the local government, down to the federal government. So the problem I think the black children are having is they don't feel like they're involved, they don't feel like they matter.
Right.
So the moment they don't feel like they matter, then they start having complex issues, inferior complex at school, where some of their teachers even tell them, I don't think you're going to amount to anything.
Right.
So we need to get fundings to put these children into programs that can benefit them.
Amazing.
We need psychologists, black psychologists, white psychologists, to study these children to find out what their strength is.
Right.
Because everybody can be a doctor, everybody can be a lawyer.
That's
But
right.
we are all special people, and these children are all gifted and talented in so many areas. So we need to inform them, first of all, what they are able to do,
Amazing.
their capabilities, their abilities. Starting from, it could be welding, it could be plumbing. But we need to really get them involved. So how do we get them involved? We need role models for these children.
Right.
We need good role models that really care about them. It doesn't have to be their parents.
That's
It could be the uncle down the street. It could be the neighbor down the street. It
Right.
could be that teacher that they've hired to teach the kids. We don't have enough male role models in the schools. We have very few male teachers. So we need to start training a lot of boys to become teachers.
Amazing.
So even if they don't have a good role model as a father, they have teachers that they can look up to and go to. So these are intricate things that we need to look into. We need fundings for people that want to get into teaching. Boys, there are lots of young boys out there that can teach.
Right.
They can talk, they can impact knowledge. They can be engineers, they can be whatever they want to be. But we need to introduce them to different angles of life.
That is quite a very important point you made there. As a writer, so you basically educate children by writing books for children.
Right.
So is that something that you think that you also bring on the table and also motivate both from our infant to youth? So I think you will also be able to play important role there.
Right. My writing comes from a different place. It
Right.
comes from me telling a story.
Right.
You know, I want to entertain the children through my stories. So whatever they get from the story is whatever they get. But most times I like to leave like a message. You're a star. Or I can tell them you can do it. Don't give up in life.
Right.
And as I'm talking to them, I'm also talking to the parents. So when they read to the children, you know, they're learning something, and the children are also learning something. So my writing is basically from my own gifts or passion.
Amazing.
But if we're going to make a change generally, we need the white people. I don't know if this is right to say. They have a lot of programs out there. If you go downtown, there's a lot of programs that they do that is so expensive. They teach the kids puppetry, they teach the kids how to make movies. So these kids start making movies at a very early age.
Yeah, well, Canada is a country where
Yeah.
have people from all backgrounds.
Right.
So we work together with the three levels of government
Exactly.
and make it happen.
Right.
So thank you so much, Ngozi. That
You're
was
welcome.
amazing.
Thank you.
Tamara, you are one of the community leaders. You have worked with this government for quite many years. And I am sure that we not only have this show to just talk, but we are here also to solve problems. We are here to lay down everything that we need to do to solve problem in our community and also educate. So is there a little bit you can tell us with your experience working for the government, together we're gonna have to tackle these issues and bring a lot, let's say, concrete on these issues that is affecting us and our children.
What I would say, I worked for the government for a few years, but what I say is the government is aware of the issues with the community, and I wouldn't say they've turned a blind eye.
No.
However, it's up to our community leaders to meet up with the government and tell them what's happening, because they do know, but if nobody comes forward and say to them, listen, these are the help we need from the federal government, you have to meet with the federal government, you have to meet with the provincial government, you have to meet with the municipal government,
Right.
you know, and tell them what's happening in the community.
Right.
You know, people will go and then they'll meet with them once and then they give up, you know, but we have to keep pushing
Right.
because they are aware that our community needs help. And there's not that many leaders out there who will help. So this show is really good because we have to push forward to help our community, especially the youth. I'm always about the
Exactly.
youth. Especially the youth, because they are our future. We'll be gone, but they are our future. So,
That's-
you know, that's one thing that we have to do. We have to move forward, push forward, you know, to help the youth.
Well, that is a very tremendous point you made there. As for me, I strongly believe everything that we have talked here. I mostly believe in education. I mostly believe that the youth are the leaders of tomorrow. So therefore, we're going to have to push. Not only that, even also adult. We should also have adult education whereby nobody will be left out.
Yeah.
We do have our elderly also that retire and they also work for the government. So basically we're going to have to bring everyone down, and also we keep them engaged by counseling our youth and teach them the way. And the government is going to be involved, but I strongly believe that the government, we are the government. So therefore we are the ones who have to bring the issue to the government and say, listen to me, this is what we are going through, and we are going to have a lot of programs, different programs, which is going to touch in every career, in every way necessary in order for us to push forward and make sure that our community will resolve all these issues, because we do have a lot of youth in gangs and shooting, and children are dropping out of school, and we have teenagers are getting pregnant in school, and sometimes they feel rejected, and because there is more peer pressure with this age, from especially in high school, is because of a lot of peer pressure, and therefore most of them, they end up having mental health issues, and sometimes we don't realize. So we're coming from background where we were told this is what you have to do, but I think also we have to sit back and look and take time, discuss with our children, bring them close to ourselves and see what we can help. And we do have a lot of people in the community that are educated. So we do have social workers, as I said in the past, and physicians, pharmacists. We have them all. So we have to make sure that we make this happen. And you can say another point again if you see if there's any area we didn't touch.
No, I think that's a very good area, because we have community leaders, as you said. You have community leaders. We have we have the lawyers, we have the pharmacists, we have the doctors. You name them. We have them in our community.
Right.
So we need to bring them to the table as well, because they will have ideas for us. They'll be there to mentor the youth. They'll be there to Because sometimes it's not. Sometimes we say the youth, but I'm not criticizing parents or teachers.
Right.
But sometimes the parents, mothers, but you see the parent has to be there for the youth.
Right.
There's an old saying: monkey see, monkey do.
Correct.
It sounds really racist, but it's not. I'm not being racist.
Right.
That's what what you see. Because the parent is not there for them. So what the parent is doing, they do the exact same thing. It's not the same, but it's almost the same. They walk the same way. So that doesn't help as well. We always say teachers should be able to help the kids. No, you have to be able to discipline your own kid at home. So when they go out, they're really organized. When I was young, I was really disciplined. And I'm talking from my own experience. When we used to sit on a dining table, you couldn't speak. When you were eating, you couldn't speak. When you were eating, television is off. Why? Because my parents always said, you never speak with your mouth full. Who wants to see what is in there? And don't spit on, These are some of the disciplines. So I got so accustomed to that when I go out for lunch with my friends or whoever I go out for lunch, I say to them, as soon as we start, I said, no conversation.
Right.
Because I don't want to be spitting on you. That's some of the things that parents have to, they have to teach the kids, or sometimes we come, some of us, we come and we didn't get the privilege.
Right.
But with the youth, they have the privilege.
Exactly.
So, you have to educate yourself, you have to, do stuff for yourself, parents will push, but you have to help yourself too. So, these are some of the things that does bother me, the youth. That's, the young girls and the young boys, that sort of thing. I'm very passionate about those.
That's beautiful. And of people coming from the African diaspora, I think we all know that we have a culture. So basically we also going to bring in our culture in order to educate them. As I'm saying that, you make a statement earlier that a child is not raised by the only parents, but it takes a village to raise a child. That's what the dream of this diaspora. So everyone must feel home, and nobody will be left out. So we go out there and do the best we can to also add to the Canadian economy. We can do it.
Yeah, we can.
Yes, we can.
I'm just going to touch on one thing based on what you're saying. Some of these mothers and fathers don't know how to be mothers and fathers.
Right.
I've watched a lot of them. I'm like, why is it? My dad was the king, man. Like in the house, when my father comes in, like everybody just leaves.
Right.
But now the mothers want to be friends with their children.
You can never be
and
friends
the
with
fathers
your
want
kids.
to be. They want to smoke weed.
No,
with
you
their
can
boys.
never be friends
But
with your
this
kids.
is what's happening in
No.
this generation, and
Can
we
never
have
be
a
friends
different
with your
mindset with this
Right.
generation. Nothing is wrong. Oh, we're experimenting. No, it's okay. Let him
Try
roll
it
on the
out.
table. That's fine. It's an experiment. It's freedom
yeah.
of expression. So we are dealing with a whole different generation now.
That's true.
I understand.
So we can't come with them with the way we were raised.
Right.
No, you can't do that. I always used to say that you can never do that.
So my take on this is to actually teach the parents how to be parents, empower the parents.
That is very important.
If you can find a way to empower them,
Right.
then the children can be affected.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah.
That
Yeah,
is
that's true.
quite
Yeah.
Because
that's
they're
true.
taking the powers from the parents. The government
right.
is taking
Yeah.
it. So
No, because you see, when we were young, I mean, during our time, I mean, you know, it's a different thing. So the way we were brought up, you can't say I was brought up this, like I always say, like I was brought up like this, very disciplined. My father was very, very disciplined. We never go out with dirty shoes. So I can't stand dirty shoes. That's one of, because my father would be, well, those shoes, what's happened to those shoes?
Exactly.
You know, so there's some stuff. But my own kids, I can say, well, those shoes are dirty, because that's a different generation. You know, the
Exactly.
kids now are different from how we were brought up. So sometimes, you know, we are Africans, we like to bring our culture,
Yes.
but we have to mix it with the Western
outdated.
thing, because it's outdated. The way we were brought is very, very different.
Well, that's why we do
You know.
have psychologists that
Yeah.
has studied child psychology. We have social worker that have studied sociology.
Yeah, yeah.
So therefore, we have to know how to socialize. We have to have a balance,
Blend.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
also. We bring in the culture, but at the same time, we have to go according to the guideline in order to make sure that they won't have a mental breakdown. So we're gonna do it in a way that is appropriate
Exactly.
to the way that they will not feel they are pushed to do things, but not, rather than them
Encourage them.
seeing that they're being loved, because everything we do is to do it for them, because they are the future, they are the next leaders. So we will balance child psychology to tell the
With
youth
cultures,
with
that's what I'm
cultures
saying.
in order to make sure that we all do everything according to the guideline.
Encourage them. It's encouragement.
Exactly.
I always say, you know, you have to encourage the kids. You know, you encourage them because, you know, it does help a lot when you encourage people. You know, regarding their kid, even if they are old, encouragement. You know, it pushes them.
Exactly.
You know, they push down. I call it the pull down. You know,
Right.
you bring them down and say, well, you're not good enough. You never be good. You never be that. You know, that gives them mental problems, because when somebody says, you're never good, you never be good, you're never, you know, that sort of thing. You know.
I think it's very important also,
Yeah.
but for we talk about the youth now, we're gonna step out of the youth. So basically, we also have a lot of stigma we are dealing with in our community. Talk about finance, talk about how to manage. That is one thing that I think our community is really dealing with.
Yeah.
It seems like we need more education on how to, on management. Do I make a point?
yes.
Yes, of course, yeah, we have to be able to financially manage. I mean, yeah, you're right, but you know, not everybody, you know, I might come across as a snob or something, but not everybody has the education to be able to manage some things. You know, some people are blessed to be educated. Great. Some people, you know, due to circumstances beyond their control, you know, they were not able to be educated to a point. You know, so I mean, like financial things and managing stuff, education does count. It does, because then you're able to organize. You know, some people, because some people are not as organized. You know, some people even with education are still not organized. Anyway, that's a different story. But you know, for points like that, like, you know, or finance and managing and that sort of thing, you know, people have to be trained and encouraged,
Right.
you know, on how finances and, you know, and other stuff, you know. And even with people who are older, say older, when I say older, I mean certain age,
Right.
you know, can still, you know, educate themselves, because I always used to say education is not a race. You could be a 90-year-old and just, you know, educate yourself and have your diploma in whatever. So education is not a race, but we have to educate, you know, it takes time, you have to educate, you know,
In every area.
in every area, you know, and that will help. That will help the parents too. It will really help the parents, yeah.
So I think that is
It will
very,
really help the parents, yeah.
it's very important.
Yeah, it's
And
very important.
and another thing is that knowing how to manage, we also have to train our youth on being entrepreneur. What do you think, Ngozi?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Coming from a background of where they called Igbos, basically very industrial. So is there anything that you can touch on the things that we're going to work
It's
with.
funny, I was
Yeah.
thinking about it this morning when we were little. I and my brother, as young as 9, we used to pick up empty bottles and sell. And then we used to sell things to my neighbors, like shoes. My auntie sent shoes from London. I would go to my neighbors and would sell. And my auntie was like, because you're a good salesperson. And I was only 9. I could sell 10 shoes in one day, you know. Because all I have to do is smile. Auntie, do you want these shoes? You know, they're from England. They're like, oh, really? And they're buying. But nobody really encouraged I and my brother. We just thought, okay, it just happened. Nobody said you can actually make more money as you go along, because the African mindset is not really like that, like owning businesses. They want to work 9 to 5. They're not thinking, it's now that their mindset is changing.
Right.
But we need to encourage them that they can own their own businesses, and there are programs out
Exactly.
there that can help their own businesses and start businesses, but they need to have a passion for it.
Yeah.
Right.
So once they start, they succeed at it. They don't fail after 2 years or 3 years.
Right.
So that's
That is one of the goals that the diaspora is going to focus on, not only to educate our kids to go to college or university in order to go look for a job, but also to acquire education in order to be an entrepreneur. You have to be a businessman, you have to be a businesswoman. That is the only way, because nobody really gets rich on 9 to 5 job. So those are the area we need to touch. That is very important. So I brought it up in all that for us to know that.
Yeah.
So education is needed, but if we look in this our community, most of them are university graduate and they don't have jobs. Some of them are still working in McDonald's. So
Yeah. And I also think that skilled trade is a very, very good trade. You know, people would think, you know, skilled trade, you know, a carpenter, he does that, he does painting. But it's a really, really good trade. You know, people think, you know, you go to the university and then you get your degree. But then if you work in McDonald's, why not go for a skilled trade? Because there's a lot of people looking for, you know, skilled workers. There's shortage. You know, so it's one of the things that I think the youth should think about it. You know, you go to university, you have a degree, but you still can go, you know, to 2 years, you know, for a skilled thing. Then you have that. So you have a trade.
you have to have, you
You
discover your
yeah,
gift.
Exactly.
Because my own husband,
When
my
you
own
decide.
husband has his degree.
Right.
Yeah.
But my husband is a skilled trade person. He, you know, he does skilled things. So when you see him, you know, driving to work, or, you know, sometimes he goes to the subway to work, and you look at the state of my husband. You don't even have a second look at him. You think, God, what is this?
Exactly.
You know, but he's a skilled. And he, you know, he's lived on that skill forever.
Amazing.
And he's still lives off that skill, you know. So whatever the business management thing that he did is aside. Because he owns his own business. So he has the knowledge of business, so he knows how to run business. He knows numbers.
That will guide him on his
My
trade.
husband, yeah, because
So-
my husband, you know, and he did engineering too, because my husband liked physics and stuff. He's very good.